A sanctions clock is ticking at the United Nations. Europe threatening snapback, Iran defiant, and Russia stepping in with a delay plan. Moscow, set to assume the Security Council presidency, is circulating a draft to push the deadline 6 months. A move backed by Beijing and eyed warily in Washington. In Geneva, Iran and the E3 race against time. The question: diplomacy or confrontation? Pause or snapback? Russia has submitted a draft resolution to the UN Security Council seeking a 6-month extension of Resolution 2231's implementation, in an effort to delay the automatic reimposition of sanctions on Iran under the snapback mechanism. According to Iran International, the French mission to the UN confirmed the move, saying, "The Russian resolution was circulated but not put in blue yet." Britain, France and Germany have meanwhile warned Iran that UN sanctions will be restored by the end of August unless Tehran swiftly returns to nuclear talks and shows concrete progress. In a letter to the Council last week, the three nations, known as the E3, said Iran had violated the near entirety of its JCPOA commitments. Russia's draft, backed by China, proposes a 6-month technical extension of Resolution 2231, which underpins the 2015 nuclear deal, pushing its expiry to the 18th of April 2026 with the possibility of further renewals. During this period, the Council would suspend any substantive consideration of matters related to the JCPOA, while urging all parties to resume negotiations. The initiative, first reported by UK-based Amwaj, came shortly after a phone call between Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and Russian President Vladimir Putin. According to Tehran's readout, Putin voiced optimism that talks on the snapback mechanism would produce a desirable outcome. Diplomatic sources told Amwaj that Moscow's move is designed to avert a direct confrontation with the E3 and to reassert Russia and China's role in the negotiations. The timing is also significant. The snapback process takes 30 days, and Russia is set to assume the presidency of the Security Council in October, potentially complicating European efforts.
We have made clear that if Iran is not willing to reach a diplomatic solution before the end of August 2025, or does not seize the opportunity of an extension, E3 are prepared to trigger the snapback mechanism.
The snapback automatically restores all UN sanctions lifted under the 2015 deal. For Europe, which has been sidelined from recent rounds of US-Iranian talks that collapsed after Israel's 12-day assault on Iranian nuclear sites, the mechanism remains the only direct pathway back into the diplomatic process. US, Iranian and European officials are set to meet in Geneva on August 26th to assess whether diplomacy still has a chance. Speaking to The Guardian, Western diplomats voiced skepticism.
We are going to see whether the Iranians are credible about an extension or whether they are messing us around. We want to see whether they have made any progress on the conditions we set to extend.
Those conditions include the resumption of inspections, a full accounting of Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium, and a return to direct or indirect diplomatic engagement with the United States. Yet, the path ahead is fraught. This week, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei ruled out direct talks with Washington, leaving only mediated channels, possibly via Oman or Norway, on the table. Western negotiators in Geneva remain wary, citing Tehran's uranium enrichment to 60% purity, just below weapons grade, and its continuing refusal to grant full IAEA access. Tehran counters that Israel's June bombings, with US support, devastated nuclear facilities in Fordo, Isfahan, and Natanz. It argues that until assurances against further attacks are given, it cannot verify the status of its nuclear materials.
All nuclear materials are buried under the rubble following the US bombing of Iranian nuclear complexes in Fordo, Isfahan, and Natanz in June. Tehran neither has any information whatsoever whether they are safe or not, nor any plan to recover them before there is a guarantee of any more attack.
The competing narratives highlight the ambiguity over Iran's program. President Trump has declared it obliterated, while Pentagon officials strike a more cautious tone. In a call with his UK, French and German counterparts, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi warned that activating the snapback mechanism would bring serious consequences, according to state-run Press TV. One Iranian official told CNN that Tehran is preparing for the worst scenarios, assuming the E3 is using its sole remaining leverage to satisfy Washington. Options under review reportedly include curbing cooperation with the IAEA, exiting the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or designating the E3 as hostile states, moves that could authorize Iranian forces to inspect European vessels in the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman. Meanwhile, Russia's upcoming presidency of the Security Council in September looms large. Diplomats say Moscow could delay or obstruct a snapback if the decision slips past August. That's why the E3 has warned it may act by month's end, before Russia takes the gavel. The Geneva talks thus hinge on trust and timing. Iran must show compliance with nuclear safeguards, while Europe weighs whether to delay sanctions in exchange for progress. Russia's proposal for a 6-month extension buys time for Tehran and reasserts Moscow's influence. For the E3, triggering snapback restores leverage but risks escalation. Delaying could allow Iran to consolidate. The August 26 meeting may not deliver a breakthrough, but it will clarify whether Iran, Europe and Russia can align on even a temporary compromise, or whether the looming showdown at the Security Council is merely being postponed.